Hi Chai, you wanna make a video? I wanna make a video.
Hello BookTube! Welcome to another episode of Better Read with Saul. We're into March now, which means it's time for my TBR, my first TBR, where I talk about what I'll be hoping to read this month. And contrary to what I titled this video, it's not really that mad a list, nor are there any basketball books on it. I've got 6 things, 5 books and 1 novella, which is double what I read in February, so progress. Anyway, these cover a couple different genres, so let's get into it, shall we? But first I wanted to introduce you to the star of my intro for this video. This is Chai, my best friend. Who's going to be a BookTube star? So for my first on the list, I don't have a physical copy as of yet. I'm on the waiting list at my library, so hopefully I'll have an image up somewhere to tide us over. It is the notorious RBG, The Life and Times of Ruth Bader Ginsburg by Erin Carmen, Shannon Nezik, illustrated by Peng Zhu, published in 2015. So I'm a Canadian and I don't totally follow the American Supreme Court, so I don't really know much about RBG beyond the meme and what I hear on social media and the news. Though there was that movie about her recently, which I also didn't watch yet. So I'm interested in looking more into the life of this progressive icon who so captured people's imaginations and admiration, especially recently. Secondly is my only sci-fi book on the docket, Foxx Gambit by Yoon-Ha Lee, published first in 2016. This is the beginning of the Machineries of Empire trilogy, a militaristic adult sci-fi. It's been fairly highly regarded, so I'll just read the blurb as I don't know a ton about it, just that I've heard some good things. When Captain Kelcheris of the Hex Arcade is disgraced for her unconventional tactics, Kel Command gives her a chance to redeem herself by retaking the Fortress of Scattered Needles from the heretics. Cheris's best hope is the undead technician Shu Jadao, who has never lost a battle, and who went mad in his first life massacring 2 armies, one of them his own. As the siege wears on, Cheris must decide how far she can trust him, because she might be his next victim. Sounds fairly interesting. Might be a bit of a blend of science fiction and fantasy, which is what I've kinda heard, so let's see how it goes. One book I'm planning on reading this month is A Labyrinth of Silence and Sorcery by Curtis Craddock. This is the 2nd book in the Risen Kingdom series, and is a new release, having just come out in January of this year. The first book in the series was An Alchemy of Masks and Mirrors, which was published in 2017. I read it last year as one of the novels I went through as I was coming through my reading hiatus. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, the first in the young adult fantasy Winter Night trilogy. This is based on Russian folklore, and considering that we had a very mild winter here in Western Canada, even a green Christmas, but February's been trying to make up for it. I'm really into these winter stories. Winter lasts most of the year at the edge of the Russian wilderness, and in the long nights Vasilia and her siblings love to gather by the fire to listen to their nurse's fairy tales. Above all, Vasya loves the story of Frost, the blue-eyed winter demon. Wise Russians fear him, for he claims unweary souls, and they honor the spirits that protect their homes from evil. Then Vasya's widowed father brings home a new wife from Moscow. Fiercely devout, Vasya's stepmother forbids her family from honoring their household spirits, but Vasya fears what this may bring, and indeed misfortune begins to stalk the village. but Vashti's stepmother only grows harsher, determined to remake the village to her liking, and to groom her rebellious stepdaughter for marriage or a convent. As the village defenses weaken, and evil from the forest creeps near her, Vasilia must call upon dangerous gifts she has concealed to protect her family from a threat sprung to life from her nurse's most frightening tales. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley for winter books, and it's fairly well regarded, so I was hoping. While we're on the subject of snow, ice, and winter, we also have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Now, I'm part Swedish and Norwegian, roughly 20% according to a recent DNA test I did, so Norse folklore and history, particularly that of the Vikings, has always occupied a place near and dear to my heart. So I'm looking forward to seeing what a writer of Neil's caliber can do with these stories. Lastly, we have Children of the Nameless by Brandon Sanderson. This was a novella written for Magic the Gathering, which was released as a free ebook towards the end of 2018. Now, I have a bit of a confession to make that might get my science fiction and fantasy fan card revoked. Even before I went on my reading break, I have not read anything by Brandon Sanderson. I know, terrible. But I am a Magic the Gathering fan. I've been playing for a few years now and following the story with some interest. So I'm looking forward to introducing myself and seeing if he can avoid the tie-in fiction curse. Now, tie-in fiction has a long and, quite frankly, for the most part, well-deserved history. Now, tie-in fiction has a long and, for the most part, quite frankly, well-deserved reputation of being, well, trash. But with his reputation, I'm hoping that it'll help this avoids a lot of those pitfalls of licensed work, and we'll see what my first introduction to Sanderson brings. Alrighty, well, that covers what I'm looking to read here in March. Let me know what you're planning to read, and if you enjoyed this at all, please do consider giving me a like and a subscribe. That'll be the sun setting on this video, and I will catch you all next time.